All right, I got a couple minutes past 4:30. Good afternoon. So I already did this once, but can somebody online one more time, since I messed around with my settings, give me the thumbs up that you can still hear me? Grant, somebody? All right, Stephanie, thank you. Yes, we are recording. I saw that earlier. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the July 5th Leadership, Education, Training, what do we call these? Session. I am your host, and we are actually finishing up the Energy Bus today. Yay! Boy, that was full of energy. Yes, thank you. So as usual, we're going to do a quick review of the last session. Maybe not. Okay, get my mouse in the right spot. All right, so as we were getting toward the last few chapters, a couple things that Joy and the Energy Bus group were sharing with George was one of the big concepts last time was it might not necessarily be about being the best, but it's about being better today than you were yesterday. So just trying to always improve and move forward. And then rule number 7, we'll get through, I think rule number 7, number 8 was from the last one, and 9 and 10 we'll cover today. Number 7 was enthusiasm attracts more passengers and energizes them during the ride, just like Donna. Enthusiasm attracts more passengers and energizes them during the ride. Rule number 8 was love your passengers. Then they had a great little section about 5 ways to love your passengers. Okay, 5 ways to love your passengers. Make time for them. Listen to them. Recognize them. Serve them. And bring out the best in them. Make time for them, listen to them, recognize them, serve them, and bring out the best in them. So before we move on to the last couple of chapters, finish up the review of last session, I want to just take a second to talk about that word love. Also says, what is all this talk about love at work? Is that something that we're supposed to talk about at work? How often do you see that, hear that on job sites? It's not something you often hear spoke about in the work setting. So my engineer self, I had to go look up the definition. So I used to say, what does Webster say? I don't know, this wasn't Webster's, I think it was dictionary.com. So the definition of love, according to dictionary.com, is a feeling of warm personal attachment or deep affection toward another. Is that what we're talking about at work? Maybe. Let's hope not too much of that love and affection. So the love we're talking about here is the type that assures team members feel connected, empowered, cared for, engaged, and a part of something greater. I'm going to read those few words again. Team members feel connected, empowered, cared for, engaged, and a part of something greater. It's a verb. Yes. That was Mark Benton reminded us that it's a verb. When team members feel loved, they experience higher levels of job satisfaction, produce more, and are more excited about going to work. Who would agree with that? Everybody raise your hand. Donna's clapping. For those of you in the virtual land, Donna clapped very vigorously just then. And everybody in the room raised their hand. Well, most everybody raised their hand. I forgot to raise my hand, but I believe it. So now we're going to jump into the last few chapters, and we spent a lot of time to this point with George. So Judgment Day was coming for George. So Judgment Day and the presentation was coming soon. So George needed to start trusting and having more faith in his team in removing the fear that he had. So the time for the presentation was coming, and George was struggling with fear, right, because of past experience. And he knew that the team didn't have a lot of faith in him. So he wasn't feeling all that trust. But I like this statement that was in the book when you're talking about trying to move from fear to trust. It's not called a leap of fear, it's called a leap of faith. Sometimes you just have to trust in yourself and your team, and you have to make that leap. And sometimes, which comes first? I'd like to think the confidence and knowing exactly what you're doing comes first, but oftentimes that's not the case. And maybe, unless you stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night, it's hard to have that confidence and faith all the time. And at some point, we have to focus on the purpose and have trust, which leads to rule number 9. Again, if you remember, there were 10 rules. And rule number 9, drive with purpose. It's like a sweet convertible, whoever this person is driving. Drive with purpose. So without purpose, you're not going to get very far. So purpose is the ultimate fuel for our journey through life. When we drive with purpose, we don't get tired or bored, and our engines don't burn out. Drive with purpose today and every day, and cultivate it in your team or your teams. And I love this sentence right here. And they'll not only stay on your bus when it's cruising, but they'll also get out to help push when it breaks down. So if you have a purpose and you cultivate that every day with the teams, they'll not only stay on your bus when it's cruising, but they'll also get out to help push when it breaks down. Have we ever had a situation here at GSM where maybe the bus was puttering along a little bit and getting ready to break down, might need a little push? Maybe your crew, maybe the job you're on. Yes, what we've experienced the last 18 months. Frankly, what we experienced 3 months ago. We've had a lot of people getting out and pushing the last few months. But yeah, the last 18 months has been, how can we put it positively, lots of opportunities the last 18 months. We've been fortunate because we have had a lot of people get out and help us push. And sometimes that's required. So speaking of purpose, I interjected something here real quick. What is the GSM purpose? It's right in our core values. Anybody remember? Get and keep customers. In the back, we have a winner. Our purpose is to get and keep customers. Now, one thing we got to remember, I think when we say that, so often we think of external customers only. But of course, our job is to get and keep internal customers as well, which is our team members, people that we work with. So that is the ultimate purpose for GSM. So what's next with purpose? What else do you often hear with? What else do you often hear about or think about when you hear about purpose? Okay, could be. How about vision? Is vision important? So Marty, if you remember, Marty was one of the bus passengers, and he shared a great anecdote about vision, a parable about vision. If you haven't seen this or heard it, 2 airplane design teams were separated. One team saw a model of the finished product, and it was given a vision that they were building the fastest, newest, and most advanced airplane ever built. The other team were separated into small groups who were told to design each piece with knowing what the end design and vision would be. Which team do you think had the most success? One that was shown what the end product would look like. Surprisingly, the team who had a vision for what they were building worked twice as long and hard and finished in half the time as the other group. Does that apply to the things that we're dealing with every day? Not everybody at once. Just what do you think? Yes, vision can be important. So this comes in when George is trying to help prepare the team for this presentation. And not just the presentation, but he was trying to get his team together. He was trying to get the team to believe in each other and believe what they were trying to accomplish. So George was able to show the team they were doing much more than just making light bulbs. His vision allowed them to see that they were doing other things that included helping a child read in bed before bedtime, helping an elderly person find their medication at night, helping a working parent wake up early for work, helping a college student study for an important exam. He was able to show them that their work would light up the rooms and the lives of every man, woman, and child who ever turned on a light switch and benefited from the light of their bulbs. So you think they were thinking about that as they were making this presentation, or they're in the factory floor watching these light bulbs come off an assembly line? And you think that's what most people are thinking when they see that going on? All right, what about here at GSM? Are we putting on roofs and repairing units and installing air conditioners? What do we do that we don't always readily see? What vision can you paint about how we are really impacting our customers? How about our coworkers?
We're allowing coworkers to support their families and keep the lights on at their house and feed their families. It might be protecting a roof, keeps somebody, some job or a business owner, that's all he's got. He's put everything he has in that business. We're keeping it dry, so we ultimately keep him in business.
Yeah, for those of you online, Eric just shared that we're allowing possibly a coworker to support his family and serve his family in a better way. We might be keeping or helping a business owner, our roof, helping a business owner protect everything he owns might be in that building. Or it might be a comfort. It might be something that has to be stored. If the cooling goes down, you might lose all this product.
All those things about light bulbs are benefits, not necessarily the features.
Correct.
So we always talk about comfort and peace of mind. That's the benefits of the things that we do in our business, not necessarily the features.
Vernon just made a great point for those online, that we're talking about the benefits of what we do, not necessarily the features. I think when I was in sales, I would get so caught up on the features that nobody cared about except me, because it was important to me to show how smart I was. But again, customers and people I were talking, but they didn't care about the feature. They cared about the benefit, and specifically comfort and peace of mind is what we're actually providing. That's the benefit that we're providing. Here's some examples that I just randomly brainstormed a couple. It's possible things we're doing in somebody's house might help a child get off their allergy medicine. What if we were able to help a child with their asthma due to better comfort and healthier air? What if we helped a doctor better serve their patients because their office was more comfortable and dry, for that matter? What if we allowed kids at a school to study in a better learning environment because they're comfortable, they're not concerned about being wet or being uncomfortable? A grandparent with COPD can spend more time with their grandchildren because of the comfort inside their own home or their grandchildren's home. Allow a coworker to have health insurance they might not otherwise be able to. Help underserved groups by keeping United Way office dry and comfortable so they can operate. We go on and on discussing the real long-term positive impact of the work we do. Again, not just about turning that thermostat on or hooking up that piece of ductwork or replacing that compressor or whatever the case may be of the actual physical work we do. So George was doing a good job. You could see through the book at this stage when he's showing them and talking about the purpose, his team's starting to believe. He even had one of the team members that had quit, who decided not to stay on the bus or get on the bus originally, had a team member that actually came back. It's almost time for the presentation. It's almost the entire book has been leading up to this one moment, the presentation. George and his team were about to face the music, or at least the executive team at the company. Joy and all those on the energy bus have helped him gain a better perspective about this, and leads us to the last rule. Rule number 10, have fun and enjoy the ride. Have fun and enjoy the ride. So for somebody like George, it's hard to have perspective probably in his situation, but ultimately it's just a presentation. If you prepare properly and practice, the rest will take care of itself. Stressing about it or worrying about it doesn't really move you closer to the vision. Stressing about it and worrying about it doesn't really move you closer to the vision. All it does is get in the way of being able to stand up in front of people and talk. So everybody have fun and enjoying the ride every single day on that 120-degree attic, or on top of that 100-degree roof, or under that house that's been flooded. So according to Joy, this kind of plays off of rule number 10. The goal in life is to live young, have fun, and arrive at your final destination as late as possible with a smile on your face. All of us focus too much on what stresses us that we forget all the things that we should be thankful for. Earlier in the book, there was a big section on gratitude, and even in slowing down enough to take the time to be grateful and thankful for the things that are around us. And of course, I thought this was kind of anticlimactic, frankly, but when you get to the presentation, you build up this whole book and they talk about the presentation in like 3 sentences. But ultimately, as expected, the presentation was a huge success despite the executive team's low expectations, and maybe even George's low expectations. But the key here was when George was asked to explain the success, I decided it was time that I stopped being just a manager and started being a chief energy officer. So the key point here, I think, is to remember that he decided. He made that statement that I decided it was time that I stopped being just a manager and started being a chief energy officer. And as one of our values reminds us, it's a personal choice. So I think ultimately it was up to George all along. He just needed a little direction, a little purpose, and a little vision. So the ultimate goal as a leader, again, I'm taking this in context from the book and the energy bus, but the ultimate goal as a leader is to become a chief energy officer, develop other leaders and teams into chief energy officers, spread the joy, and follow the 10 rules for the ride of your life. So that's basically the book, but it ends with a review of the 10 rules for the ride of your life. So it's taking us, I don't know how many weeks and sessions to get here. I think this is the 4th one actually on the energy bus itself. But let's review these 10 rules real quick. So you're the driver of the bus. That means you're in charge. Nobody else can drive your bus. Desire, vision, and focus move your bus in the right direction. So you got to have some desire, vision, and focus to point you in the right direction and start the moving. But to fuel the ride, number 3, you got to have positive energy. That's the only way to fuel the ride and keep it moving in the right direction, is with positive energy. Number 4, as a leader or somebody with a mission, you need to invite people on your bus and share your vision for the road ahead. And we talked about vision a second time today, but we talked about it in a little bit different context, in the fact that think about it in terms of all the things that those light bulbs can do, all the things that the work that we do, how it really impacts our customers and our coworkers. Now here's the hard part as a leader. I think number 5, don't waste your energy on those who don't get on the bus. Don't waste your energy on those who don't get on your bus. That's the hard part of leadership. Sometimes we have to make tough decisions, but ultimately we need people on our bus who are sharing our energy and want to go with us. 6, post a sign that says no energy vampires allowed on your bus. Again, 5 and 6 tying together. Number 7, enthusiasm attracts more passengers and energizes them during the ride. Energy and enthusiasm is what's going to allow you to get more passengers and get them energized to be on your bus. Number 8, love your passengers. Number 9, drive with purpose. And then last is have fun and enjoy the ride. Have fun and enjoy the ride. So I'm going to finish up with, this is, I think, the third time we've actually used this quote from the book. But I think it's the best, one of the best messages from the book relative to the Energy Bus in general. But I wanted to bring this one back. I think it's a powerful and a great reminder of what is required to slowly make a change. It would be nice if we could just snap our fingers, or no pun intended, turn on a light bulb and it just switch like that. But that's typically not how it happens. It takes time. And we have to make a personal decision and we have to practice it. So that the quote directly from the book is, positive energy is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The stronger it gets, the more powerful you become. Repetition is the key, and the more you focus on positive energy, the more it becomes your natural state. So I'm going to share one last anecdote for the book, and then we're going to talk about what's next in the homework. And that's correct. We're not going to let you get out of here without some homework. So there's one last anecdote from the book on page 144, excuse me. So the study conducted where the group interviewed was a large amount of 95-year-olds. They were asked if they could do it all over again, what would they do differently? And there were the top three things that came from the study. First, they would reflect more, enjoy more moments, more sunrises and sunsets, moments of joy. 2, they would take more risk and chances. Life is too short not to go for it. 3, they would have left a legacy, something that would live on after they die. So they would reflect more, enjoy more moments, they would take more risk and chances, and they would have done something to leave a legacy. I just thought that was a powerful anecdote story to finish with, which goes kind of to the whole point of what Joy was trying to accomplish with George. All right, believe it or not, that finishes up the Energy Bus. However, I'm going to recommend first homework is reread the Energy Bus a second time. Come on, Stephen, you got to be kidding. Looks like this for me anyway. I think actually this was the third time as I prepared each week and reread the sections that I was going over. This is actually the third time I've read this book, and books like this for me, I always get something out of it, something different out of it that I didn't catch the first time, or because I had been through the study, something like this, you may find something that you didn't realize or didn't make as much of an impact the first time you read it. Review and study the 10 rules for the ride of your life. Implement and practice the rules and apply them to your area of responsibility, both personally and professionally. Post a no energy vampire sign as a reminder. I should have done this beforehand, but I think we should maybe get some of those signs made and we'll give them out, post them everywhere, especially on Donna's office. Post a no energy vampire sign as a reminder. Actually, if energy vampires walk in Donna's office, they just burst into flames. All right, the next book is, so we're done with one book. Guess what? We're going to start another one. Actually, I think this one's actually a little shorter. It's called The Way of the Shepherd. And we already have the books here. And I think Stephanie has them, but we'll get them out to all the teams. And it's another, well, it's more, a little more focused on leadership and management maybe than the Energy Bus, but it's similar. So we're going to, the next session, we're going to review the first 2 chapters, which in the book takes you through page 40, but it's actually, the way the numbering is in the book, it's actually only 31 pages. So that's the next book, The Way of the Shepherd. Read the first 2 chapters, and we will, in the next session, I think it's going to be July 19th. So it'll be 2 weeks from today. And everyone, I sure appreciate your time and energy the last few weeks going through the Energy Bus. And until the next session, everybody have a good week, in a good couple of weeks, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you, guys.